Have you ever looked at an old family heirloom, something passed down through generations, and thought, what on earth am I supposed to do with this? Maybe it's a heavy, ornate piece of furniture that clashes with your modern decor, or a piece of art that, to be perfectly honest, you find a little bit creepy. You love the story behind it, you cherish the connection to your family, but you just can't find a place for it in your home or your heart. So it gets tucked away in the attic, the back of a closet, or maybe even shoved unceremoniously under a bed. This is a story for anyone who has ever done just that. It's a story about dust bunnies, forgotten history, and the jaw-dropping moment when you realize the clutter you've been hiding for years is actually a treasure beyond your wildest dreams. Our story begins with a gentleman who brought two rather peculiar items to an antiques roadshow appraisal. They weren't your typical delicate teacups or elegant paintings. These were heavy, imposing, and, in his own words, looked kind of wild, like the devil or something. For years, these two mysterious objects, a clock and a matching barometer, had been a part of his life, but more as a burden than a blessing. He painted a picture of their long journey. They first belonged to his grandparents, who had acquired them upon retiring from a lodge in the rustic, beautiful landscape of upstate New York. You can almost imagine it. A grand old building with a roaring fireplace, where these pieces once proudly hung, witnessing decades of stories unfold. When his grandparents passed, the set went to his mother, and eventually, as heirlooms do, they found their way to him. For a while he did what was expected. He hung them on the walls of his own home, a silent testament to the family that came before him. But time marches on, and so do our tastes. When the time came for a major home remodel, the guest and his family were faced with a familiar dilemma. These dark, heavy, almost monstrous-looking pieces just didn't fit the new vision. We said, well, these have got to go, he confessed to the appraiser Delaney. But they couldn't bring themselves to throw them away. They were family after all. So they found a less than dignified resting place. We actually put them on the floor under the bed and had them under the bed for years. There they sat in the dark, gathering dust, their intricate faces and heavy metal bodies ignored. Out of sight, out of mind. It's a fate many family heirlooms share. They become ghosts in our homes, carrying stories we've half forgotten. The story could have ended there, with the devilish clock and barometer slowly corroding in obscurity. But fate and a curious friend had other plans. One day, a friend mentioned that he could get the items appraised on Antiques Roadshow. A spark of curiosity was lit. What if these strange, heavy things were more than just family relics? So we made plans to come, the guest explained, the excitement still fresh in his voice. And we got tickets to come down here. And so we brought them to see exactly what they're worth and where they came from. As he placed the items on the table in front of appraiser Delaney, their sheer presence was undeniable. Delaney's eyes lit up with the kind of genuine excitement that makes the show so captivating. He immediately recognized that this was something special. Well, you have two very unusual, Delaney began, a smile playing on his lips. It makes it a clock set, a clock, and this is actually a barometer. This was the first revelation. While the guest knew what they were, Delaney emphasized just how rare it was to see them together. To have a clock and a barometer as a sort of a pair is really unusual, he explained. In those days, a family might splurge on a statement clock, but to purchase a matching, equally ornate barometer was a true mark of affluence and taste. This probably was designed to go on either side of a window or a door. Delaney then addressed the guest's comment about their weight. You said they were very heavy. I would agree with you, he chuckled. Their castings are super heavy. They probably weigh 5, 6, 7 pounds apiece. He explained that this incredible heft was a sign of exceptional quality, something obvious to a trained eye. He then guided the owner on a journey across the faces of the objects, revealing details he'd likely never noticed. The barometer featured a classic silver dial, a brass plate with a silver wash that allowed the engraved black markings to stand out in sharp contrast. The clock, however, had a crisp, white enamel dial, giving it a clean, elegant look. Even the hands were beautifully detailed and ornate. Delaney pointed out the maker's name, present on both pieces, Caldwell Company in New York. They were not just a pair by design, but a pair commissioned for a high-end retailer. Delaney's enthusiasm was contagious. He described the set as